Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of our IMG friends joining us from around the world. My name is Eling Emily, and I'm so excited to be your host for today's webinar, which is all about IMGs and PM&R. For those who don't know, Pathways is a student-led organization aiming to highlight the diverse and exciting world of PM&R while offering resources and opportunities to help others succeed in the field. The IMG community was recently created by 4 IMGs with the goal of bringing PM&R to an international stage, so medical students from all over the world can learn more about the field and get the tools and support they need to pursue a career in physiatry. We're thrilled to have all of the committee members here with us today. Myself, Emily, I'm a final year medical student from Taiwan. Norman.
Hi everyone, thank you for coming and joining us today, especially my friends who are the panelists today, Leila, Sandy, everyone, Eduardo. I'm so appreciate you guys joining us. And I am Xiao Yu Pan. I go by Norman. I'm right now a researcher at UT Southwestern Medical Center, and I will be very honored to join Harvard's body rehab in the upcoming years. So again, thank you everybody for joining us, and I hope this event will bring you guys values, like a community, or hopefully in the future you will find a home in the field. Yeah. Oh, also, special credits to all the other 3 members. They helped a lot and organized the whole event. And they are really the most important people in all those events. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Norman. And then we also have SJ.
Hi guys, I'm SJ from South Korea. I'm also in IMG committee. I'm so glad to have you guys right here. Thank you so much for coming.
And last but not least, Paul.
Hello, everyone. I'm Paul. I'm a fourth-year medical student from Lebanon. I'm also part of the IMG committee at Pathways. It's an honor to be here, and I'm looking forward to having a great session. Thank you all.
Well, thank you so much for your introduction. It's a true honor to welcome all of you to the very first event hosted by the Pathways IMG Committee. We're excited to be launching a mentorship program and hosting more webinars to guide you through the PM&R residency application process. Be sure to fill out both the pre-webinar and post-webinar surveys. Your feedback will help us improve our future events. Plus, we'll randomly select one lucky respondent to receive a 30-minute consultation with our panelist, Norman. So please note that the pre-webinar survey will be closed in 10 minutes. So just don't miss out on this chance. So we have a fantastic mix of attendees today. And for those of you who might not be familiar with PM&R in the United States, let me give you a quick overview. Physiatrists are medical doctors who specialize in physical medicine and rehabilitation, focusing on restoring function and quality of life to individuals with physical impairments or disabilities. The PM&R residency program offers both categorical and advanced programs, with categorical being a 4-year training program and advanced being a 3-year program after completing a preliminary year in another specialty. In PM&R, there are several exciting subspecialties that you could pursue, including sports medicine, spinal cord injury, brain injury, pediatric rehabilitation, pain medicine, and neuromuscular medicine, each offering unique opportunities to make a significant impact in patient care. Last year, about 40 US and 40 non-US IMG applied to PM&R, and the match rate was estimated to be in the low 40s. We're excited to have 6 freshly matched IMGs with us today to share their incredible journey and insights. So sit back, relax, and get ready for an inspiring conversation. Now let's welcome our very first panelist, Leila, who's from Iran, who just recently matched into UAMS, will be sharing her journey. Let's welcome Leila.
Hi everyone, I'm Layla. I'm from Iran. So before I start, huge thanks to the group behind the scenes, working hard and plan everything, organize this panel. Very well organized. Thank you guys. Sorry, start my timer. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen with you. I have 3 slides to share. Okay, so I graduated in 2014. Went to med school in Iran. I did PM&R residency later on because I was inspired by the field of PM&R. My first exposure was as a medical student back home, where like my interest started to grow. I volunteered in a PM&R program back home. So I finished my residency in PM&R in 2017 and worked as a physiatrist for a few years. Then I decided I want to move to the US. So in 2020, this happened, and in 2021, I took my step one. Um, and At the same time, I was looking for PM&R research opportunities because I wanted to enter US on a research visa. So that's why, and I had a background in research, in PM&R research as a physiatrist there. So I started looking up programs, research opportunities, um, which, by the way, if you are planning to do the same thing and you are gathering information, save those information somewhere. I had an Excel sheet that was helping me not only at the time for finding a spot as a researcher, but also later for the match season. It was really helpful. Um, so yes, in 2021, I did my step one, and then in 2022, my step two. So I did all the steps before moving to the US, and personally, I think that was a smart move for me. It saved me money and probably a few gray hairs. And also, I was able to focus more on my job when I entered the US. So it took me a while to finally get my J1 visa in November 2022. I came to the US. I started my job as a postdoc at Northwestern University in the PM&R department. I was mostly involved with leading clinical trials, and we were writing papers with my colleague Santiago, who is here as well. Um, and we had amazing mentor who helped me find shadowing opportunities. I started shadowing amazing doctors in Chicago. And meanwhile, we were preparing posters and we attended conferences. So I put all the conferences here. 2 of them were in 2023 and 2 were in 2024, but just wanted to keep all the conferences somewhere close, like point them out all together. So 2023 was mostly my networking year. So I started to cold emailing programs, program directors to find observership opportunities, although I was shadowing as well. But I encourage you, I would suggest you do the same thing. Start sending emails. You're gonna get a lot of rejections, a lot of ghosting, but you only need a few kind people who help you through your path to PM&R residency. And I'm sure you'll find those people, but be consistent. Also, what helped me a lot was reaching out to people from my country who are originally from Iran and now are in physiatry. So those have been through like those have been through all the things that you are about to experience. And in my case, they were very understanding, very supportive, and I would recommend you do the same. Um, and in 2023, I took my OET test and got my ECFMG certification. My advice, get your certificate as soon as you can and have it by the time the ERAS application deadline, because it is highly recommended to submit your application as a whole, like a complete application. Although you can at any point, like throughout the season, you can complete it and update it, but some programs, maybe most programs, they download and review the applications very early. And if your application is not completed, that might hurt your chances of getting interviews. So in 2000, that was the other thing that I did, and I would suggest you do the same, was volunteering in workshops, like as models or helping with organizing the workshops. These workshops are held by AAPM&R, and you can reach out to them and seek for opportunities in your city. Like in Chicago, they had 2 or 3 workshops that I went, and it was amazing. I met amazing people, and also I learned a lot. Okay, well, 2024 probably was the most challenging part of my journey for me. So I was preparing for a step 3. I did my step 3 in August 2024, which was close to the ERAS opening. Mostly in 2024, I was sending email of interest to the programs like ahead of time, that I'm interested, I'm in IMG, I'm interested. I had a small CV, like a mini CV attached to my email, and I started communicating with the programs. I was able also in AAPM&R in AAP 24, I was able to talk with one of the APDs and got an observership in New York. So in August to September, I had a day rotation in New York. Meanwhile, ERAS package. So do not underestimate ERAS application, like getting prepared ahead of time, because it snips the deadline, sneaks up on you very fast before you even realize. So there are some points about ERAS application. There are tons of videos on YouTube or online. You can watch all those videos, which I highly recommend. But my experience, the most challenging part for me that I kind of missed, and if I could go back, I would learn more about it ahead of time, was the ERAS website structure. It was confusing for me, like how to upload, how to assign the documents. So I would recommend watch the videos that kind of walk you through the ERAS website structure. Writing the personal statement, I started 2 months far out from the deadline, which was, I think it was a bit late. So it was a bit stressful for me. You can start, I think even now, you can start, if you are an applicant for next year, you can start doing it, like start to form like your idea, how you're going to present yourself, because you do all these works to get an interview, and personal statement is an important part of that. So you're gonna represent, that paper will represent you, and you're gonna sell yourself through one paper. So be very particular about it. Have it like you need to revise it multiple times. And once you are happy with your personal statement, I would recommend have someone, native speaker, even in medical or out of the medical field, have them review your personal statement and share the ideas with you. Letters of recommendation, I would say start ahead of time. Ask the people who are like, give them a heads up that, hey, will you be able to give me a recommendation letter, and ask them to upload their letter early, because as an IMG, you know that our letters will get an extra, it gets reviewed before releasing by ERAS. Experiences, do not underestimate experiences. It's hard to summarize your experiences. Try to diversify it, but Also, there are limited word counts, so it's hard. Believe me, it's hard to summarize what you did through the years in a very impactful way.
Layla, 5 more minutes.
Sorry, what was that?
5 more minutes.
Oh, okay. Yes, I got my timer here. Thank you. I wrap it up soon. Okay. So regarding I already told you about the CFNG certificate. I would say find out programs that sponsor the visa if you are a visa, if you are requiring a visa. For me, I was looking for H-1B. So this narrows down the programs that you're going to apply. Regarding signaling, I have good news for you. They increased signaling, like they've added 12 more signaling. And for next match, you're going to have 20 signals, which is great. It helps you, it reduces the over application. And I think that's a very good thing that has happened. I would say look up the programs, their social media, their website, talk to the residents, whatever you can to learn as much as you can about the program. Like by the time of the interview, know everything about the program, about their history, like all the things that you can find out that will help. Like it shows that you are interested to the program and you did your homework too. Like for interviewing skills, there are tons of videos, so I don't want to talk any more about it, but I had kind residents and friends who I mock interviewed with them, and they helped me a lot. Oh, the other thing, make notes and keep them. So unfortunately, I lost some of my notes, but I encourage you to keep them because at the end of the season, when you are trying to rank it, they are blurred out, and you might not be sure, okay, which program was told me that. So be mindful about that. In 2025, so I still had interviews and I did the second looks. I'm not sure how much second looks will help you in to get like how if it might changes your chances of getting matched. But for me, it was useful. It was helpful to know the program. And honestly, I changed my rank list after I did the second looks. For the ranking, consider your visa situation and your true preference. Okay, my final words. I would say go to national conferences as an IMG. It helps a lot. You're going to find mentors. You're going to meet amazing friends. I know the amazing panelists here. I met them in the conferences and also in second looks. Find friends on the same journey. Again, like I knew IMGs and they are my friends now. They help me a lot. Also, friends on who are applicant for other specialties can help you a lot. Like I had mock interviews with friends who were applicant for orthopedic surgery and internal medicine. Get US clinical experience as much as you can. If you can secure like a hands-on, that would be amazing. Unfortunately, I couldn't do that, but I still had shadowings and observerships. And show passion for the field. For me, it was not like very challenging because I had a background in PM&R. But if you are a medical student and you do not have a PM&R background, try to build up on your experiences with PM&R, know the field, and also express how passionate you are about PM&R, know the field. That's the thing. I think observerships will also help you to know the field better and apply to PM&R if you are truly passionate about it. Okay, I think I'm on time. That was my story. And thank you guys for listening. I'm going to hand it over back to Emily.
Thank you, Layla, for your insightful contribution and
Of
also
course.
the conclusion. So next on our panel list is Santiago from Mexico. He just recently matched into Rush University. Let's welcome him to share his story.
Hi everyone, I'm Santiago. First, thank you so much to the organizers for preparing everything and for being super diligent about everything. Really appreciate it. Um, and yeah, so I don't have any slides prepared, so I apologize, but I'm just gonna like talk from my experience and yeah, basically like answer the questions you might have. I graduated in 2021 from Mexico, Universidad Panamericana. That's where I went to medical school. After that, I took some time to study for step one. I did it in January 2022. So I basically was kind of like in that time where it stopped being scored and went to pass fail. Based on my like self-assessments, I wasn't feeling super confident about my score, and I decided like just to like wait until it was pass fail. So I literally took it. I think the first day it was pass fail. Um, and then after that, I started looking for research positions. I was especially interested in Chicago because my partner matched here to a surgical program earlier that year. So I was trying to like stay in the city. I think that really helped overall, like with my match. After that, I started doing research at Northwestern. That's where I met Layla as well. And then I took step two while I was doing research in November 2022. I scored 267 on step two. Um, then I just kept doing research, trying to like just like improve my CV. Then after that, in 2023, yeah, early 2023, I took step, no, 2023, I got my ECFMG certificate, which was valid for 1 year. Then early 2024, I took step three. There I scored 252. And after that, I was just like preparing on my application, getting ready to apply. So it's like the basics of my journey. As Leila said, like we were really like interested in like getting like publications and getting research, but most of our work is with clinical trials, so that's a bit slower on the like volume of publications and like the speed at which we can publish. So our numbers are not super high, but we've gotten like very good support from our PI to make more connections, to get like more like development in general. So that's been very helpful. And then yeah, then this year, like this match cycle, I was already ECFMG certified. I had step three, um, and I applied to 54 PM&R programs, both categorical and advanced. And I applied to 46 preliminary years and transitional year programs. So it was basically like uh, like 100 programs overall. Then I was really like focusing on programs at institutions that can sponsor H-1B visas. I decided like earlier in the journey that I did not want um to get a J-1 visa just because of like the restrictions, the like waiver after residency. I don't think it is like a huge deal, but like after being here for a while, taking a bit long to like enter residency, I just decided to like skip that. But if you choose to go that path, I think that's perfectly fine, and I think that's probably gonna make it easier. I think that going through the match, requiring visa and requiring H-1B sponsorship specifically, definitely makes it harder. Um, there's not a lot of institutions that want to sponsor H-1B visas for their residents. It's more expensive for them. There's more liability for them versus a J-1 visa, which is cheaper for them. The liability is all on ECFMG. So that's just like the easiest route to go. But I didn't want to go through that path. So yeah, I had from like my 54 PM&R applications, I had, I believe, 5 or 6 interviews. By the end of like my rank list, I had 7 PM&R ranks. So like some of those programs had both categorical and advanced positions, and in the end, I matched within my top 3 ranks, and it was a categorical program. Oh, and then I'm just looking, seeing here in the chat, Antonio Madrazo, really good seeing you here. I think he's from a university. So yeah, I got clinical experience here. Basically, I did an observership in Miami in 2021. I forgot to mention that. Before graduating medical school, I did 2 months of observerships at Jackson Memorial Hospital in Miami, but it was not hands-on and it was not PM&R. So that was something that I struggled with because I didn't realize that I wanted to do PM&R until a bit later in my in my career. So I did not get like any like full like inpatient rotations. And then while I was doing research, I had the opportunity to like go shadow attending physicians here at Northwestern, and that got me like some additional like exposure, which was helpful to my application. But I would definitely encourage like something that like the thing that I would like change the most about my application if I could go back in time would be to make sure that I could graduate with clinical experience in the US, mostly hands-on. Another thing that really affected me was that like by the time of my intern year, that was when COVID hit, so that really reduced like the opportunities to get exposure before graduation. So that was out of my control. But I do think that research is very helpful. People do value it. I think that scores in PM&R are they might get more value in the future, especially as the specialty becomes slightly more competitive every year. But I don't think that they're really like impressed by very high scores. I think that mostly like if you have like a failed attempt or if you have like a very low score, they might screen you out. But other than that, I don't think that a high score will guarantee anything. So I think that the highest you can score, that's perfect. I think that that's definitely important, but it's not a guarantee. And I think you need to have like a good like overall application. And I think that one of the main things that people struggle with is like just demonstrating their interest in PM&R specifically. So if you can have like a genuinely like an application that genuinely shows your interest in PM&R, I think you'll be fine. And I think this is like important both for US graduates and international graduates, just to show that you're actually like aware of what the specialty is. I was fortunate that my university in Mexico had exposure to PM&R. Like we had rotations, we did have like dedicated time for that. So even though I did not have any like dedicated time in the US for that, like formally before graduation, I was able to show that I did have like exposure to that and that I was like aware of like how the specialty worked and all that. Because otherwise I think that they would have been more concerned about like my knowledge of the field. But yeah, I think that's like the main thing. I'm happy to answer questions now.
Santiago, thank you so much for sharing your pathways towards matching PM&R. So since you're wrapping up with your sharing, we'll move directly to Q&A sessions for both you and Layla. So all of the questions that I'm raising right now are collected from the forms that the attendees has filled out. And my first question is for Layla. So were all of your letters of recommendation from US physicians, or did you include some from your home country as well?
Yeah, sure. So as I said, I did residency in PM&R back in Iran. So I had the option like to get the letters, but I did a little bit of research and I've been told that like, and it makes sense that it's better to get the letters from US physicians. And so I was able to get one letter from my mentor and the other 2 letters from doctors who I've shadowed in Chicago, one at Northwestern and one at Schwab. So if you can, yes, get the US letters, but if you cannot, it's not the end of the world. You can still get one letter, but I would recommend at least two letters from the US. And based on the programs, it depends. Some programs require at least two letters from physiatrists, so be mindful about that. And through your observership, you can. And also, sorry, I saw a question in the chat section. It says how to find observerships. As I said, cold email programs, like knock on any doors that you can, every doors that you can. So it's gonna pay off. So for example, I found my observership at Montefiore Hospital through emailing people, and then I met them in that conference, and then they gave me, because they have a scheduled appointments ready for like observers, and they were pretty booked. So the only thing that I could get was pretty close to the ERAS, which was a kind of a stressful having away observership in another city and filing your application. So this is one way. Email people and ask for people like IMGs like me, where we went for observership and how we stand out. So it's tough, compared to AMGs. You do not have access to the chart and you are labeled as observer, so you cannot do anything in the clinic. Basically, you only can like watch. Okay, so it limits your chances to show stand out, but I would recommend you can still like do lectures, so volunteer for lectures. This is something that you can stand out. Find a topic and have a short lecture on that for residents. So yeah.
Okay, thank you, Layla, for your experience. Our second question is for Santiago. So, did you apply to PM&R only, or did you dual apply? And what is the recommended number of programs to apply to?
Thank you. Great question. So I did not dual apply in the like strict sense of the word. I obviously applied to like prelims and transitional year programs, just in case I matched at an advanced program, but I did not consider any other specialties. I did not apply to any like categorical internal medicine positions. My advice as far as like how many applications, I think it really helps first to use your signals well, and especially if you can choose geographic preferences. I believe that all plays in your favor. I know a lot of IMGs might not have a specific preference as far as where they want to live, or if they care more about like east north central versus New England or something. But I do think that seeing these things on your application will help a program think that you're more serious about going to where they are. And in the end, I think that it's better to focus on three regions or like select three preferences versus not choosing any at all. It might seem like you're like reducing your kind of like your pool of programs, but I think that's wrong. I think that if you can like choose three areas and then signal mostly within those areas, I believe that that will be the most helpful thing. And there's like match data to support that, which shows like there's a higher amount of interviews with signals and then with signals and geographic preferences. So I think that considering that it doesn't make much sense to apply to a high number of programs outside of those regions, just because if you didn't signal them, they're unlikely to be inviting you. One of my interviews was outside of my geographic preferences, but and then I think I only got one interview that was not signaled. So basically, like half of my signals resulted in interviews, and then I had another interview that was not a signal. So I really think that that's the most important thing. And now that it's going to be 20 signals per year for each applicant, I don't think it's going to make much sense to apply to maybe more than 25 or maybe 30 programs if you want. But every program that does not receive a signal will know that it's not in your like top 20 choices. So I think that this all plays again in the applicant's favor and will just reduce like the financial burden of having to apply too broadly. Um, So yeah, I think that that's what I would recommend.
Okay, thank you so much, Santiago, for sharing your experience. Our next question is for Layla. So, do you have any suggestions on how to find other PM&R doctors from your home country? And do you think that having a board certification from your home country helps with your application package?
Yeah, sorry, I already answered it shortly, but I would say not really because the board is like doing PM&R residency for sure helps you in terms of they already know that you have passion. Like maybe I got this question, why PM&R only in one of my interviews because I had a background. So it helps in that terms, like it shows your commitment to PM&R. But board certification, which I had, didn't help. There is nowhere that you can document it, so it doesn't matter. And yeah, so.
Okay, thank you so much, Layla. And
Right.
there's another question on whether there's a suggested way for you to reach PM&R doctors practicing in the States that are from your home country.
Oh, okay. So yes, of course, 100% do that. Find people. It doesn't matter. It's like you can reach out to people from your country or other IMGs. They are all very helpful. Like in PM&R society, IMGs and AMGs are very kind, and I'm so grateful for their help through my journey. So yes, you can find them on Twitters, like social media, find their email addresses. As I said, I was looking for research opportunities like before I moved to the US. So I had some of their emails in my Excel sheet, which later I helped me to reach out to them. And you can also meet them in conferences.
Okay, thank you so much, Layla. Our last question for this Q&A session is for Santiago. Do you have any suggestions on how to secure a research position, especially when you have financial burdens?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think that there is like a combination of luck and preparation for securing a research position. I think it's obviously very, very tough to find someone willing first to sponsor a visa and second to like provide a full salary to someone that may or may not have like some research experience in their home country. So I think that it's a path that requires a lot of kind of resilience. Like there's going to be a lot of people either ghosting you or not really taking you seriously, or they will want to like give you like a position that is unpaid. But obviously, like living in the US without a salary is very, very hard, especially like if you don't have like that kind of support from your home country. Um, my advice is to try and like first, if you can attend conferences and find people who have like academic labs, I think creating some sort of rapport really helps. I also think that there's like a window of opportunity after the match. So when I got my position at Northwestern, it was in like it was between like March and April 2022. So right when like some people were leaving the lab to go to their programs, that basically like opens the door for more people to like take a place and give continuity to the like studies or the projects that are the lab. I think like you need to be like very, very like transparent about your needs, your visa needs, your needs for funding. And I think that it's okay to ask for these things. I don't think that there's anything wrong with being upfront about this. Obviously, some people will like not take you seriously. One thing that I think is very like helpful is to use like a Chrome extension that will tell you if your emails are being opened or not. It's not like 100% effective, but at least you can see like if this person opens your email. Like some institutions might have ways to block this, and you will not see if they open it. But I think like most of the time you will see when someone opens your email, and at least you will know like okay, this person is ghosting me, I will just like go to the next one. And if they're not opening them, then you like can like follow up again and try again later. Um, I think like if you can have experience in your home country, that will definitely help. But I had basically like no research experience when I started, so I think it's like um, in the end, I think like you need to like create a compelling email, be genuine, tell them about your aspirations, about wanting to do your specialty in the US, have your CV in a good format, and then hopefully that will help you get an interview. And I think it's kind of like the match, like your whole application will help you get an interview, but after that, it's all about your communication skills and how you come off to other people. So if you're good with people, if you can appear like you're genuine and kind of like personable, I think that you have very good chances. So I think that there's like a subjective component as well of like how you communicate. I think that we need to avoid being needy when we approach people for positions. I know like obviously we have like all of these constraints and like we need to like we want to be I don't know, kind of like sometimes we want sympathy, but I think that people sometimes don't respond very well to that. So just be transparent, be like just tell them who you are, what your aspirations are. I think it's very important to also like kind of if you're reaching out to a PI in a certain area, tell them why you want to work with them, not just tell them I want a research position and I want to be paid. Like tell them I'm very interested in your projects because your impact to the field has been, very, very like significant, and like give them examples. So basically tell them why them, not just like what you want, because it's very different. Like it's different when you approach someone because you're interested in their work specifically versus when you just want a job. So I think that people like to be told that they're important. People like when they're like, hearing nice things. And I think like just talking about like their past projects and like their contributions to the field really opens the door to like opens the door to people like us.
Well, thank you, Santiago and Layla, for the informative Q&A session. Due to time constraint, we'll be moving on to our next speaker. Our next speaker is Xiaoyu Norman Pan from China. He just recently matched into Harvard Spalding, and let's welcome him to share his journey towards matching.
All right, can everybody see my screen? Perfect. And is it the right screen or the display mode?
It's the correct one.
Very cool. Sorry, I always have problem with the tech issue. And thank you so much first for Layla and Santi joining us. I really enjoyed you guys talk. It just bring me back to the time when we were doing interview, we were in the conferences, and well, I would say such amazing friendship and experience, especially when you interview a program, you get really nervous, or you attend a second look of a program, afraid of, no one as an IMG. And then, wow, your friends just showed up. They were also in the interview, they were also in the second look. It just makes everything fresh and energetic. And those people, including Eduardo, they are the most like important supportive. Where my role is an IMG, identity is an IMG in all those like conferences, experience everything. So also a great suggestion to everyone. Be close to your IMG, AMG friends, your AMG mentors, IMG mentors for sure. Our PM&R is such a small community, and people are very kind. As long as you reach out, you build your own network connection, it will be a lovely field. You will enjoy every moment you walk into those conferences or like event today. So again, it's very lovely to see those faces I'm very familiar with, and I enjoy every moment of us be together and looking forward to the next time we meet. Also, thank you, Jose and Isa, for joining us, and I'm sure we will be friends very soon. And I'm ready to know you guys and ready to your guys' talks. So my talk today I have a slides because I also presented it to my Chinese community. So you can see both Chinese characters and English on it. Sorry for that. Bear with me. And I probably will mostly focus on my experience, not exactly what I did, but like at specific several moment where I pick why I pick several step or degree or experience over other. So that will be my way of today's presentation, and hopefully you guys can get some idea of my thinking process, how I made the decision, and why I did that. Cool. So first, is it not moving? Oh, it's moving. So that's like the topic today, but I will just pick several of them because there's too many points. I know. Disclaimer, it's just my own experience and more think about, according to your background, how would you decide to take your path based on my sharing, based on everybody's sharing. Don't just copy paste it, but think about your own pathway and what is most important or like greatest value for you. So I was also orthopedic in China. I was also orthopedic surgeon in China, doing orthopedic oncology. The reason why I came to the US is I see the gap between my home country PM&R and the PM&R here, and I see the real good quality of training here in the States, which can really make me grow up as a fully capable PM&R team leader, working with all the therapists, and hopefully in the future I can be a like global physiatrist, helping my home country and other country build up their residency, education, etc., or like humanitarian mission. That's really my passion. So that brings me to the US. Some of my basic stats, I got my I also got my step one and the CK down very early, even like before I came to the US, like Leila did, and I think that is very beneficial because I can focus on my studying research here, start connection, everything. If you guys do have the opportunity, do that. Try to get the test down before came here. But if you are already here, it's totally fine. Just be sure that the scores are not. I would say it's important. I talked to several PD. They say the average scores of their applicants they're interviewing right now is like 248, 49. It's almost the average of the nationals. So be prepared to get a decent score. No need to be that crazy high like Leila and Sandy that really beast in scores. But yeah, try your best. Try to aim something above the national average. I only got 3 observationship, and I will talk about my takeaway from observationship later. I have, although I have like 30 paper, but I only got like 5 first and co-first publication and several in those conferences like they already mentioned AAP, AAPMR. I also went to ACRM, do the poster, do the oral talk. I also host several education session and research session, which is a little bit different. Something different in my package is that aside from MD, PhD in my home country, I also have a Master of Public Health here in the States. I will also explain that in the slides later. I also need a visa, and my recommendation letter is 4 from PM&R and 1 from also. Something I think it's worth to bring attention to you guys is that I use 1 letter from also because I was an orthopedic surgeon, and that letter is really strong, especially it explains that the surgeon see my passion in PM&R and how I stand as an orthopedic surgeon and get interested and be prepared and how I approach the PM&R and how and we've been know each other for 5 years, and it's like a testimony that I'm truly into PM&R. That is why I used 1 letter from also, and this letter kind of very helpful because a lot of interview mention that, and they don't question about my motivation, and they won't believe that is it a backup because also it's too competitive in the US that you pick PMR. No one have that concern. It's very obvious that I'm truly into PMR. So if you are also someone do a different specialty in your home country, you have very strong connection or basis in another specialty, it's totally fine if you use just one letter from that specialty, but make sure what they are saying in the letter. If they say you will be a fantastic orthopedic surgeon, I don't think that will help, right?
Norman, just a reminder, 5 more minutes.
Oh, okay, cool. So that's the interview I got. I cannot talk about too much of them, but make sure those interview they're IMG friendly. At least they offer interview to me, and in the history they offer interview to other people in IMG as well. Also, signal and geographic preference. I agree with Sandy that use the geographic preference. I can't explain too much because the time limits, but willing to explain more if we have a group chat later. Then my people, all of us, most of us did like observership, and I do see observership as a great opportunity for several reasons. First, you can always reach out to the people who are IMG friendly, teaching friendly, who are supportive of your goal. When they say yes to you, they probably already know they will be ready to offer you a letter of recommendation. Second thing is that you can always pick the weakness of you, or your interest, like if you don't have inpatient PMR, if you don't have exposure to brain injury, you can always use that opportunity to like fill up the gap in your package. And of course, although you are not able to do most of the resident work, function as a sub-intern, you have time. You can prepare for the talk. You can treat your attending and your senior resident really well, and you can be ready for posters, for conferences. You got a lot of opportunities. There's always something you can do with your time there. And for research, I see some question about how many research is like enough number. It's really hard to tell that how many numbers, but I would say for PMR field, have your research that is related to them. For example, publish if you have the right to choose, publish some paper on the journal of our national organization, APMR, AP. They have the American Journal of PMR or the PM&R Journal or the Journal of ACRM. So, or if not, present your research on those conferences. Then on your application, attending will be familiar with those conferences name, although they might not be familiar with your research. That's how I did. Although many of my research are also PD related, but still present them on the PMR conferences. And why I did a Master of Public Health, it's general. Why you do a degree in the US? This degree is like 1.5 years. My thinking process is that I can get a 3-year student visa without restriction, and I can use that time to do my observership. Of course, it is costly, but it's also a time that I can tell if I can fit in the culture and I really love this country and I want to stay and live here for long. So also it offered me clinical skill analysis, being an epidemiologist or biostatistician. So that's why I picked the degree and also some other reason I cannot explain. I am right now research faculty, but I will skip this slide due to the time. Something I did after I submitted my ERAS application, I didn't just submit and pray. I wrote like about 10 customized letter of interest to those programs, which I really interested, and I spent a lot of time on each of the letter. I go to their residency virtual, the event online. I talk to their attending, their residents to gain a really solid understanding of their program, and spend almost like for each program, I spend a whole day just to write that letter of interest and be prepared. And if I got their invite, I am familiar with them, and that also saved my time. And also, when you prepare for one program and you will have a better understanding of the programs in general. So that really helped. Um, also I use the Discord and spreadsheet. That's also where I met my friends like Santi. We were there anonymously, but those information really help. That you can see which program offer interview at which time point and how other applicants look like and what they are doing, what they care about, especially the AMGs, what they are doing and they care about. Oh, something about prelim, and people didn't mention that is I'm very fortunate to get a lot of prelim, and 6 of them are H1B. I think the key in my case is that I got a lot of internal referral from my internal medicine friends. They are like PGY2, PGY3 in the internal medicine program in the New York City, and those programs are really IMG friendly, and they offer H1B. So I think their internal referral really, really, really help. I do not have any experience in internal medicine. I did not do any rotation. I don't have any letter from internal medicine. I think the really, really helpful thing is also the geographic preference. I picked New York and Texas. I think 10 of the 11 are from either New York City and Texas.
Norman, thank you so much for sharing your pathways
Oh.
seminar. Due to time constraint, could you quickly make a
Yeah.
your presentation?
Sure. Sorry about that. Let me see. Is there anything important I want to share? Okay, I think so this is the slide about how I prepared my interview. You can take a screenshot and it's quite straightforward and you can look into those resources. And it's one last sentence about the connection. So before I came here, as a Chinese, we always believe that connection is really hard, something that it's something your parents should have with other adults. This is called a connection, but I believe here in the US, connection sometimes does not mean that, how to say that, it's like ancient or historical. No, it's about how people see you. If you are really a genuine, passionate about your specialty, about the things you are doing and your future, and they see you are a good person, and that helps build a connection. And make sure you act as a good person and in front of the people who really have the power advocate for you. And that's a very natural and easy way to build up a connection. And for people who are introvert, don't get pressure like I have to be so outgoing, so extrovert, so ready to show off myself. It does not like that way. Just be a genuine person to the people who really important, will voucher you, and don't think too much. Here is people, you are the trainee, they're the trainer. They will help you if they see you are a good person. So that's my general idea for connection. Don't get pressured. All right, I think that is it. Uh, uh, like gratitude. I got too many help. My Chinese community, not just in PM&R, but including other specialty, my community in the IMG, and all the AMG. I got a lot of AMG friends also helped me, and attendings, no matter where they're from, no matter their ethnicity, their race. I very funny. I got my 4 letter, one from Asian, one from Middle East, one from Latino, one from American White. So it's quite diverse. Everybody was helping me. So that's how I feel when I try to get into PM&R as a also person. That is it. Thank you so much. Sorry about the timing, and thank you for listening to my presentation. And wish you all guys find your community, find your pathway, find your passion, and be successful in the upcoming cycle, next cycle, next cycle, and ready to see you guys join PM&R.
Well, thank you so much, Norman, for sharing your heartwarming journey towards matching PM&R. Our next speaker is Jose from Mexico. He just recently matched into University of Minnesota. Let's welcome him.
Hey, Norman, great talk. Thank you, Emily, and everyone for doing this for the IMGs. I think this is really great, and I hope it's really useful for everyone. All right, so my path is a bit different than what's been said previously. Just a disclaimer, this is based on what I went through, and you can take the advice if you want. Every situation is different. So if you want and to talk more about this, just let me know after. So I'm originally from Monterrey, Mexico. I did medical school in Universidad de Monterrey. This was 2017. At first, I actually was interested in doing orthopedics. My family moved from Monterrey to Texas, near the border in 2010. So that was one of the first things that motivated me to look for a residency abroad. During medical school, I had zero exposure to PM&R. Honestly, well, I guess it's very country dependent, but where it was, we didn't have much. So I needed to figure out what to do my residency in the US first. So from 2017 to 2019, after I graduated, I started working as a general physician. And as we recommend, cold email everyone, doesn't matter. They'll ghost you, they'll say no, there'll be issues with the visa, you'll be offered unpaid research. So honestly, it's a very frustrating time, but I would say don't get discouraged. For me, it took a while. I'm not gonna lie. There were some times where I was about to give up, but I just kept going until 2019. I said, you know what, I need to save money and just go knock on doors. So basically, that's what I did. I went to Houston with a friend of mine that was in Baylor. He's a surgery intern now. And I was doing unpaid research and observerships there in vascular surgery and general surgery, which is not an area I was interested at that moment, but I knew that was my way to get a foot in the door. So there, I was trying to network as much as I could. I kept emailing basically every day. I would say probably like 50 to 100 emails per week. I would go into the websites of places I want to be at, look for emails, look for who was in charge of research, or just get their names, log it into PubMed or Google, or try to get emails however you can. Social media is very good for that too. And just keep showing up. So during my time in Houston, I started going to journal clubs, meetings, grand rounds, just FaceTiming as much as I could with everyone until I landed a job late 2019 to start right before COVID in San Antonio. And this was 2020. I was hired as a full research associate coordinator in a J1 with a J1 visa. However, this was in orthopedics. Okay. Most orthopedic trauma with underserved populations, something I'm very fond of. I did get some clinical exposure in clinic, but it was mostly doing IRBs, doing grants, consenting patients, and that type of stuff. However, even though my job was not PM&R related, I started reaching out to the PM&R people in that program. So by probably, well, COVID unfortunately took a chunk out, so we didn't have any hospital patient interactions. But I was able to do a short observership in sports PM&R with the people in San Antonio. And that's when I started switching. From going to liking orthopedics, I've always liked MSK, so my mind just started switching into, like I like more the functional aspect, like taking care of the patient as a whole, not just like going into the OR. Also, PM&R people are really nice. Lifestyle is great. So it just started making more sense for me. But I would say the most important part of my research years in San Antonio was building connections. Even though they're orthopedic surgeons or pediatricians, which I'm super grateful, I built long-term relationships with my mentors. And I think this was one of the key things that helped me match this year. So USMLEs, I took step 1, 2021, took step 2, 2022. All this was while I was working in San Antonio. It was kind of hard to balance working and studying, but I mean, it's doable. You just have to put in the work. My scores weren't top tier. I would say they were average at most. However, I did not let this discourage me. I passed, moved on, kept studying. I did not take step 3, about to take it soon. And I mean, I just learned how to prioritize time, build discipline, stay focused. There's a lot of uncertainty during this time. I know it's hard to study and not knowing what's going to happen, especially if you're trying to work and visas and all that, but just keep showing up, keep putting in the work. So my visa was about to end. This was early 2023. And I knew I had to do more. I did not have the PM&R exposure I wanted. So 2 things, I needed more PM&R, and I also needed a new contract. I did not want to go back to Mexico. So I started looking for jobs. I landed a job at HSS, which is a really good orthopedic hospital. So I knew my background would help me a lot getting a job there. And so I moved to New York in May 2023, extending my J1. I'm working currently there in the hand and upper extremity department. And again, this is orthopedic research. However, I knew HSS had a big PM&R department. So as soon as I got there, I started reaching out to the people in sports, peds, VJ, Dr. Kirshner, Dr. Milani, you name it. There's a lot of people there. So once I got credentialed, it was easier for me to get the observerships done. I reached out, everyone was super nice. So what I had to do first was, let me backtrack a little bit. This was 2023, I was preparing for the match. So I was in between getting observerships done and not, but I decided to apply. So I applied the first time with no PM&R LORs, or my letters were from ortho. I did only one observership for PM&R, which was in San Antonio. And I did get a couple interviews, which unfortunately ended up not matching. So for me, it was tough. I mean, for everyone who doesn't match, it's really tough. So I stepped back, build my thought process into what do I need to do to reapply. I needed to be fully intentional. I know it was not just checking boxes, It's about closing the gap in between. Are you interested in PM&R or are you committed to PM&R? So that's where I thought, okay, now I need to be more aggressive into the reaching out and showing up to clinic, because whoever works in research knows that even though it's just research, you do get long hours, especially if it's clinical. You need to be there early, stay late. So sometimes it's hard to get some time off. So again, I prioritize this face time with PM&R faculty. And I started using my vacation days. Whenever my attending was off, I would just show up to their clinics, and I got along really well with them. I was lucky that I secured a PM&R specific LOR for the upcoming match. I also started a multidisciplinary research project connecting PM&R, the hand and upper extremity department, and the physical therapy department. So I think that really helped too, because now I had an excuse to go to the PM&R clinic for my study. I also got involved in PM&R committees, the PM&R Medical Spanish group. That's great. I became a small group coordinator and ended up giving classes to those who were interested in learning medical Spanish. I rewrote my personal statement to making it more PM&R based. Now that I had the experience with the PM&R attendings, I also got their insights. So I'm really grateful for that. Dr. Jones, she's a PEDS rehab attending here at HSS. She helped me a ton with my personal statement and ended up loving it. So I was not trying to reinvent myself. I was just trying to align my story with the field and prove that I was dedicated to it. So round 2, reapplying. I applied to 60 programs, mostly categorical. That's personal preference. I just wanted to avoid going through the SOAP and trying to find prelim spots because I knew in my position that was going to be hard. I did dual apply to 20 family medicine programs. The program for PM&R that I chose were I researched their resident rosters, their alumni network, and if I had any connection or if any of my mentors had any connections. Signals, I do regret using some of those in programs that were out of reach for me because I didn't have any connection and I knew my scores were in top tier. So if I could, I would definitely be more strategic with that. Now, this coming year, we're going to have 20 signals. So for internationals, I think that's actually going to help because some programs would just interview those that signal them. Some have that basically as a requirement. So as far as interviews, I had 6 PM&R interviews related to my signals. Actually, 3 were signal programs, 3 were non-signal programs. What I could recommend here is study the program well beforehand. You usually get a schedule with the names of the people that are going to interview you. If you don't get this, doesn't matter. Do your research. Try to find something you can relate to them to make the interview more friendly. I would ask thoughtful questions. I would try to get a sense of the fit for that. And every interview that I had after the interview, let's say a day or 2, I would send a thank you email and just like a brief sentence of if I liked it, how we connected, and all that. I think this is actually the most important part of the whole ERAS application season. And while I was lucky enough to match at one of my top programs, I'm going to be in Minnesota. Really grateful for the opportunity. And looking back, the journey wasn't easy, but it taught me a lot. So here's just some brief points that I'll try to be fast. I know we're time constraints, probably have like 2 minutes. So be proactive, try to get involved in any way you can. Reach out by email, doesn't matter if they don't know you. Just write a brief sentence about you, what you want to do, and why you're interested in that place. This will get you a foot in the door. Use social media to your advantage. Try to go to conferences. Try to be involved in extracurricular activities. Try to volunteer. Try to get involved in societies like this one or the PM&R Medical Spanish. That's like another one. Research-wise, quality over quantity. Some people may think, oh, if I get 100 publications, I'm in. No, that's not the case. Some programs may like that. However, I do think that even if you have one project, it doesn't have to be a publication that you can really speak about, would go a long way rather than having just 1,000 publications. Again, remember, your scores don't define you. These won't make up your story. PM&R is a field that they will evaluate the whole applicant. So if you don't get a 260 or a 250, don't get discouraged. It's possible. If I could go back, as I mentioned, I'd be more strategic. I would not waste signals in places I know I don't want to be at or don't have any connections. Every part of your application should reflect your interest and commitment to the field. This is really important. These being your puzzle statement, letters, everything. As Layla said earlier, take your time with ERAS. It is very time consuming. Don't underestimate it. Details are really important here. Find good mentors. This is key. Mentors who can speak on your behalf. Mentors that are okay with you going to conferences. Mentors that, well, if you go with them to a conference, they would introduce you to others, you know? You don't just want someone who's gonna have you working there. You want someone who believes in you, and that'll help you believe in yourself too. And remember, rejection isn't the end. It's just the beginning of what's next. In my experience, not matching was really tough, but it forced me to take a step back and ask myself what wasn't working. I took some time to rebuild, not just my application, but just how I approached the whole process. And even though it felt like a setback, I think it ended up being exactly what I needed to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Jose, for the wonderful story and the pictures that really brought the presentation to life. So, due to time constraint, we will only entertain 2 questions from the attendees form. The first question is for Norman. So, which residency programs have high IMG acceptance rate, and which ones would you recommend applying to as an IMG?
All right. Sorry about my camera. Probably you guys cannot see me. I don't know why. But for that question, I used the data from the Residence Explorer, and you can actually download their data. That is quite helpful when I make my signal and geographic preference. So the table we can download from the RE, it's quite comprehensive. They have a lot of columns to tell you each program how much percentage of IMG they interviewed last year and the year before, and how many people who signal their program they interviewed, how much percentage people who have the geographic aligned with that program they interviewed. Also, what's the percentage of the current residents are international in their program? So basically, I go to that table and based on the information, I run a little bit of small analysis, and eventually I made my decision on signals, geographic preference, and where I put the most hope and try very hard to get connected with according to that sheet from the Residency Explorer.
Okay, thank you, Norman. Our second question is for Jose. So what are your suggestions for strengthening a CV before reapplying to PM&R?
Yeah. So I'd say make sure that it shows your commitment to PM&R. You will need at least 1 letter. Nowadays, some programs may require even 2, but I would say at least 1 letter for PM&R. Try to get face time, this being by doing research or by doing electives, observerships. So the strength of your application will be that they see it and they're like, okay, this person really wants to do PM&R, and this has been a persistent applicant that has changed X, Y, and Z from cycle 1 to cycle 2. And you need to be comfortable sharing that story and also explaining what you learned from it.
Jose and also Norman for the informative debriefing session and also the Q&A session. The next speaker on our list is Isa from Trinidad and Tobago. He just recently matched into NYMC, and let's welcome him to share his journey.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a good Sunday. Thank you to the committee for inviting me, and it's nice meeting all the panelists. So it's my first time meeting everyone, so nice meeting you guys. I have a short presentation, so Yes. All right. So my story is a bit different. No, actually, I think it's very different from some of the other stories that were shared before. So what I'm gonna say, it's gonna be a bit different, but if you think that your story is similar to mine, then maybe you should consider doing what I did. So I had not much research experience, so my journey was more focused on my clinical experience. So in terms of my path to PM&R, I graduated towards the end of 2021, which is around September. Did a year-long internship in Trinidad, which finished like around 2022. So I started working at the beginning of 2023. At that time, I was working as a primary care physician, mainly in rural and underserved communities. And anything else? Yeah. And at that time, there was really minimal PM&R in Trinidad and in the region on the whole. So there was one PM&R doctor from Washington that I was friends with, and I rotated with him as a medical student. I think I was the first medical student to rotate in PM&R in the country. So that was one of the things that brought me towards PM&R. Most of the patients here don't have any access to rehabilitative care. No one knows what PM&R is. So at that point in time, it was just strictly outpatient. And then later on, we started the first inpatient in the entire region. So we see patients from multiple different countries. So at that point in time, in early 2023, I was working as a primary care doctor. I was helping out as a rehabilitation doctor, and later on, I started working in occupational health too. So I had a variety of clinical experiences. Also, I was preparing for my step 2. Not sure why, but I decided to start with step 2. I did that in, let's say, like August of 2023. It took me like about 8 months. Then I did my step 1 in May of 2024, and then I did my step 3 shortly after. And between April to August, I was in the US doing my clinical experiences. So it took me like about 18 months to do the step 1, step 2, step 3, and OET. It's not easy while working. I got step 1 was pass or fail. Step 2, I got 255. Step 3, I got 230. Scores didn't really seem to matter that much for me. Let's see, what's the next thing? US clinical experience. So I did like about 5 months. One of those months was a primary care month. The rest of them were observerships, mostly in New York. I got it the same way everyone else got it, mostly through cold emails. Most of them were no's, but I did get some yeses. And there are some places, especially in Florida, that do have structured programs for IMGs. I think somebody mentioned University of Miami already. They have the Harrington program, so you can apply to the program and then you get a response. There are a couple other programs in Florida. I think one of them is University of South Florida, but it's like booked a year in advance, so you need to start looking early and sending out emails. Research did not play a big part in my application. I had like 7 papers as like cross-sectional studies, systematic reviews, narrative reviews. Didn't have any US research experience. However, I did make a lot of good connections while doing my US clinical experiences, especially with program directors, and that seemed to help a lot. All right, the next thing is my ERAS application. So a lot of people on the interviews, they spoke about, well, program directors, they spoke about my personal statement, spoke about the underserved care, my PM&R and primary care experiences, and then I talk about some of my extracurriculars like martial arts. And yes, so having a well-structured personal statement that sort of told your story and why you wanted to do PM&R did help a lot. And in terms of your actual experiences, we have 10 experiences. So I had some teaching experience also. So I talked about my teaching experience, clinical, volunteer, research. And I think in terms of just having a holistic experiences, just portraying that really really helps. And one thing that really helped was having strong letters of recommendations. So I had, let's see, I had 3 program director letters. One was from a sports medicine fellowship director, and one was from the PM&R doctor in Trinidad. So not only having letters of recommendations, having strong letters, especially if you're doing a letter from your home country doctor, if that is a strong letter, it really helps. A lot of program directors brought that up on the interviews. So definitely look into that. In terms of application strategy for me, I'll be very honest, I applied to all the programs that sponsored visas. So yeah, I think that for me, that was a good strategy. Being narrow would not have helped me. Of course, I did waste some money doing that. There were programs that never taken an IMG. Yes, they sponsor a visa, but probably no IMGs in the state. So I did waste some money doing that, but I think applying broadly did help me. All of my PM&R interviews were from my geographic preferences. Most of them were in New York. And signals, yeah, I got 1 interview from my signals. So, well, there were only 8 signals last year. So, one of the resources that I did use the Match guys. They sort of edited my CV and my personal statement, and I did some interview prep with them and some mentorship. So it was a bit expensive, but I do think it was useful to me. And should you dual apply? I did dual apply. I also applied to family medicine, especially programs with strong sports medicine. I have a strong interest in sports medicine, so I think that's up to you if you want to dual apply. But in terms of knowing how competitive PM&R was, for me, it took some stress away knowing that I had some other options. And of course, you get a lot of experience doing a lot of interviews. So I had like about 17 interviews in total, and I ranked 19 programs. Of course, that being said, no one likes to feel like a backup. So you need to be very crafty in how you do your application. If you need more advice on that, then you can reach out to me. I could definitely help you with that. Things like internal medicine, neurology, family medicine, I think those are also good programs to apply to. In terms of some of the keys to success, of course, early planning and execution. I think reaching out almost a year in advance to get your electives, and knowing how many people are applying, and most places have a schedule, so they only take like 1 or 2 IMGs per month. Of course, having a strong personal statement and CV helped, and making connections. Of course, that was extremely helpful to me. It was easiest to make connections with the people. Of course, there were no other PM&R doctors from here, but PM&R doctors from the region. So Jamaica is close by to me, Barbados is close by, and there are program directors in the US from those countries. So I was able to connect with them, and I met a lot of people doing my rotations. So I took phone numbers, I took emails, I reached out to them, we kept in contact, and that helped a lot in terms of getting interviews. And then I met people at the conferences. However, that I feel like out of all of the pathways, that is the hardest way to make strong connections. All right, and I think some of the other panelists spoke about this, but not in detail. And one of the things that I think really stood out for me was in terms of the interview. I think it's to interview well is just really important. Just questions like, tell me about yourself, being able to speak about yourself and your interests in 2 minutes. Why PM&R? Why our program? Tell me about a time you had to deal with conflict. Be prepared to talk about your research. No PM&R interviews asked me about my research, but the prelim internal medicine programs did. I also think it's very important to send thank you emails afterwards. Most of them are not going to respond, but some do. And of course, make it personalized. Speak about things that you spoke about in the interview, things that you're really genuinely interested in the program. And all of them all of the interviewers ask, do you have any questions for me? I think it's always good to ask them questions, not just random questions. Ask them questions specific about them, their research, the program, genuinely interesting questions. And usually there's a presentation before the interview starts. So usually I would take notes and ask them questions from their presentation, so they were always happy to answer those questions. So yeah, I think that's about it for me.
Thank you, Isa, for sharing your inspiring journey from primary care to PM&R.
Thank you.
Of course. Our next speaker on the list is Eduardo from Ecuador. He just recently matched into UT Houston. Let's welcome him.
Hey guys, hey everybody. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen, guys? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Go ahead.
Well, thank you guys for making this possible. Well, all your journeys are pretty amazing. Like, I'm impressed. Also, thanks to the people who was making this possible. I don't want to bore you guys. I know that you're tired. It's the last one, so I will try to be brief. And the way I structure my presentation is, if someone can take some idea or what I did, I will be honored. Like, if at least works in one person, that would be really awesome. If you could get some inspiration from this, that would be good too. But I hope you enjoy it. So the disclaimer, the opinions I will express here in this presentation are my own, just my own. It will not reflect any position of my residency program or any medical association. So to start, as I mentioned, I'm from Ecuador, international graduate. I graduated in 2017. I had no other degrees and no other previous residency training. So first, to start this, like, we all need to know that why we're in PM&R. I heard like from you guys, like some of you discovered that you like PM&R, like through your journey, maybe it's before, some after. But what not to know why PM&R it's really important to you during this application time. Sometimes you could think that you have a cliche like reason or maybe any other reason, but I will talk from my experience. So first, I was a PM&R patient, so I had some fractures during my childhood and adolescence. So I was really involved with PM&R related things. Also, I had the pleasure of being involved in a PM&R project when I was in high school. I didn't know anything about like research or things like that. I just enrolled because they were paying like students, and yes, I was just taking notes and getting all the data. And it was about like stem cells, things that they are not using anymore in SCI. It was stem cells in SCI, but yeah. So I have these two options that I could call the cliche ones, but the real one is that something that you all guys already mentioned too, that being part of the process of how these patients improve, how to improve their quality of life. I know that, and we know that we cannot fix totally the problem, but with at least we can give them a better quality of life, of a better day to our patients. That's something awesome, and that's the thing that makes sense for me. And also, I use that as my presentation during my interviews too. So be aware of that. Give your honest reasons, like just be honest, just tell the truth. Maybe you will think that your reasons sound cliche, but they may not. But just keep that in mind, guys. Okay, about my USMLE journey, I started my USMLE journey after medical school, after graduation. So because I'm international, so I realized that I wanted to come here into the United States because in my country we don't have any any active residency program. They open some positions every 3 to 4 years, so there was not any residency program active in my country. So that's what I was doing before. So I was like working in primary care. I was working in private practice in PM&R. So there's a few PM&R doctors in my country. Also, there's a small association, but in Ecuador we don't have any inpatient facility. So people actually they don't know what's PM&R. Even doctors, even the ortho doctors, or even like internal medicine doctors, they don't really know about PM&R. So about my clinical rotations, I started my clinical rotations after my USMLEs because I took my USMLEs while I was working, while I was there in my country. And also in Ecuador, we don't have biometrics. So I need to come here to take my UCMLE. So while I was coming to my UCMLE, I was like always making notes. I remember me walking in New York, like going through biometric, and I saw a private practice office. I just always put down the name of the doctor and then I Google it and then I look up the email or whatever. That's how I get all my rotations. That's another thing. I never use any, I don't know, these platforms or an institution that could get you clinical rotations. I got mine just through knocking doors. Of course, I knock like a million doors, but you need to be proactive. Like also, you need to start like asking other doctors, hey, do you know somebody, or do you know if this doctor is accepting international students and all that stuff? So just good recommendation, be proactive. Also, while I was working in my country, I got involved in my Latin America PM&R association. So thanks to that, I could get some connections in the US. I could get at least some names. Thankfully, one of those names was the one who opened the door for me, the one that gave me my first PM&R rotation here in the USA. So, and also that doctor, I could call him my mentor right now. So actually, I got only one just clinical PM&R rotation, actual clinical PM&R rotation, and then the other two that I found. Of course, I need to know that to get into PM&R, we need to do a preliminary year. So I focus all my resources in finding some internal medicine or family medicine related things to prove all my clinical like capabilities. Then my research experience for me, guys, this was a really game changer. Why? First, because I understand the research world, I could get a better understanding of the PM&R field too, believe it or not. Because like maybe I was kind of biased, like living in Latin America, just knowing just some specifics. I knew that one of my interests was spinal cord injury, but coming to the US and start working in randomized control trials, like that was pretty amazing. Also, how I get this research position, it's pretty funny. And also, I would love this can help anybody. So always, as my other international fellows mentioned, always get a good mentor. So a good mentor is somebody that believe in you and that could vouch with you in the future. So thankfully, this first mentor, he vouched me for this position. And this position I just was in the right place and the right time. One of the like, of the boxes that I need to mark was like someone who speaks Spanish and also someone with a real interest in PM&R. So I was I was standing there at that time. So that's how I get this position. So and these positions opened me the door for the actual PM&R world in the US. So as I mentioned, I was working in randomized control trials as Santiago mentioned, randomized control trials are big studies, are long studies. So and also you are not the owner or the author or that things. But what I did was being proactive. So I was at the hospital. I was in a big institution, a big rehabilitation institution. So what I was doing was I tried to do case reports. I tried to shadow the attendings, and also I got some authorship of some side projects or some small projects, and those were the ones that I took to present to the conferences. So because I was there, then I knew, okay, I will have these two conferences. Always make a timeline. Always put. I know that as an applicant, we don't have too many resources. So you focus your resources. I focus on two main conferences, the AAPM&R and the AAP, and I present posters there. Also, that conference helped me a lot. I hear him a lot because I got the opportunity to meet like people from my region, to doctors from my region who were practicing physiatry here in the US. So always look for the interest group inside this conference. Always look for example, there is a Latino association or there is the East Asian Association. Go for that. Go for that. And don't be afraid. You don't need to be shy. Just it's like knocking another door. Introduce yourself and show yourself. Like show who you really are. And if you really are a good person, I believe they will feel that and they will understand what are you doing. And sometimes these people like, remember their past and realize, hey, I was in that shoes before too. But also network is really important. Also in those conferences, I met out the majority of you guys. Then about my year's package, this is how my year's package was. So I just put one research experience and then I just put two work experiences, the previous one in my country. I just put it under volunteer experiences, my three US clinical experience. I had one mentoring, and also I had a volunteer experience in the Latin American Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation Association. Also, I put just two volunteers. So if you notice that there's a lot of volunteer in my application, but this is how I divide it. Also, it is very important for you guys, and I want you to take this to home, like how you explain things in your applications. Sometimes we're not aware of some abbreviations or things like that. It's the way you mention things, the way you word things is the thing that will open the door for you. For example, the doctors, the program directors, or the attendants here in the US, they are not familiar on how the things work in our country. So give a little brief context of the thing, like put it in situation in your application to everything or in your AIRS package will really help a lot. And also that helped a lot during my interviews because all of them have a little bit of context, and then that opens the door for them to ask you more and more questions. About the letter of recommendations, so I was in a research position, but you need to understand that the residency is a clinical position. So, okay, I could get like letter of recommendations for the hospital that I was working at, any research, but focus too on clinical. So as the author mentions, focus on getting some observership during some observership or some shadowing to prove that you are good in your clinical skills too. So I applied with one letter that was full clinical, the first one, and then two letters that were like fully research, and then the other one was like with research and also with my mentor at this hospital right now, I had the opportunity to screen patients. So while I was screening patients with him, like he notices that, okay, I was doing like, this back and forth with the attending about the clinical things. So always try to show that you have a good basis, that you're extreme in your clinical side too. I believe this is something that the American programs are kind of afraid with international applicants because and it's understandable. We come from a different background, so always make sure of that you're in the level. Of course, the USMLEs prove that you know, but the thought process and also being involved in a hospital. Try to be involved in a hospital and learn about the EMR. Like knowing about the EMR is really important, like the different type of EMRs, because at the end of the day, you're gonna be working as a resident, as a doctor. So you will need to report all the things. So make sure that you check all the boxes in your applications, or if you have any rotations where they give you access to EMR, at least just for reading, just put it that in your ears package. Like, explain that okay, I had this rotation, I had access to the EMR to reading, or I had the opportunity to present the patients to the attendings, to the other residents. So be aware of that, please. Then for the application timeline recommendation, start as soon as possible. We're internationals, so you need to be aware that there's always delays. There could be any delays, so keep in mind that with your timeline. Also research the programs. Like I create my own Excel, and then, as the other mentions too, I've been saying this a lot, but be aware of residence explorer tools, and also create your tailor Excel sheet. My tailor Excel sheet had, for example, how many research experiences they want, if there is any other IMG, also check the background of the resident. So I took a look of all of that and I put a boxes and I fill my criteria. So I ended up applying to 70 programs, so I need to save my resources to also use your geographic and signal preferences. That's really good. And also for as an international, you will ask yourself, hey, come on, how can I provide a real geographical preference? Well, for me, that was kind of hard at the beginning, but then I realized that, okay, I've been in these two regions. So I put the Northeast, like the New York area, and the Southwest. So I was like, hey, I've been in these regions before, and I feel identified with these communities. So those were my real reasons. I gave real reasons. Like I feel identified with the language that these people speak. I feel identified with the weather or whatever. You can have your very own reasons, but give honest reasons for that because they will know that you're international. And I don't know, For example, you will not say, I want to Alaska or a place that you never been before. Give real honest reasons. Also, for interviews, I just practice with my friends, with fellow friends that were applying. They were applying for other specialties, but I had one close friend that is a resident, and yeah, he always give me the my feedback, and also I practice like 3 to 4 times a week with him. Also, don't practice with too many people, because when you start listening, like, perspectives, or like point of view from different ones, you will start changing your things. But no, like sometimes a couple of them will be enough. Also, when get the time to your actual interview, I would like to recommend that always record a diary of every interview. And also I have that part to put what I was feeling for emotions, like things like, so I feel this, I feel this. Because at the end of the season, you will not know, like you will not be able to remember what happened in that specific interview at that day. So always, like, if you have something to take home during that interview, just put it there for you to be able to make a correct decision, an educated decision in your rank order list. Also remember, your program will be the one that you will be for 4 years. So let me see. And I don't know how much time I have right now. I hope my information helps a lot out for you sometimes. But I just want to take this home for you to take this home. What you achieve by reaching your goals is not as important as you become in the process. So always remember, like, be grateful, be thankful with people that you know through this journey. And of course, I'm not the same Eduardo that started this journey years ago. So just be mindful. Also, if you fail sometimes, you need to be like resilient. Also, remember the type of patients that we're gonna treat are there are people that they are very resilient. They are working on their things. So if you'll be able to transmit that same thing to your patients, that will be awesome. That will make you a great physician. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Eduardo, for sharing your inspiring journey and also all the whys behind each step towards matching PM&R. So now we'll entertain 2 questions for Isa and Eduardo. The first question is for Isa. What's your thought on dual applying, and do you have any suggestions on how to strengthen your application for dual applying?
Ooh, that's a bit of a tough question. I think it varies from person to person on your individual situation, whether you should dual apply or not. In my case, I thought it was a good decision. I interviewed a lot of other good programs that had strong sports. So it was a good option for me. I definitely think that if you're applying to, let's say, neurology, and you have no letters from neurology, only PM&R letters, it's probably not going to look great. So definitely at least one letter, it's usually helpful. And the thing is, one letter writer could upload more than one letter for you. So I had the PM&R sports doctors that I rotated with, which was 3. They uploaded 2 letters, one to PM&R and one to family medicine, which was geared to more the sports side of family medicine. So that sort of crafted that in a nice way that showed my interest. So that was helpful. Was there another part to that question?
Yes, that's an amazing answer to the question.
Yeah.
Our second question is for Eduardo, but it seems like he has disconnected from.
I'm here. I just connected another device.
Okay, that's
Yes.
amazing. So our second question is, how could one get involved in PM&R in countries where there are no strong PM&R programs?
Yes. Well, thanks for that question. So what I did, I tried to reach out my first my national association. Then the people from the national association connect me to the Latin American Association. And I started working with them. Also, I volunteered to help them. Like, so at that time, that was 2018, and they were trying to put together a conference. So I really get involved with them. Like, just show your face, connect with them, and those were the ones who connect me with doctors in the U.S. So yes, I try to first your local, then your regional, and then like if they can make the jump to the US, that would be awesome.
Thank you, Eduardo, for sharing your insight on this. So, this is the end for the 5-minute Q&A session for our last two speakers. Again, a huge thank you for our amazing panelists, Leila, Santi, Norman, Jose, Isa, and Eduardo for sharing your incredible journeys to matching into PM&R. Your stories and insights are truly inspiring and have made such an impact on all of us today. Now, we'll move into a 10-minute Q&A session where we'll answer some of the great questions that are here in the chat box. So, it seems like our amazing panelist has answered most of our questions in the chat box. And are there any attendees that have other questions? We would like to welcome you to leave your questions in the chat box right now.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Emily. I was thinking that it would be great if we can share the QR code for the post survey for those who have participated for the pre-survey. It would be great if you could do it for us. Thank you so much. You're doing awesome.
Thank you for the reminder, SJ. Okay, so while we're giving time for the attendees to leave their questions, I'm also sharing a QR code to our post webinar survey. Just to make sure, is the QR code showing right now?
Not yet.
Okay, just a second. What about now? Okay, amazing.
Thank you.
So, the first question that I'm seeing from the chat box is that is unanswered is what is the best piece of advice that you would like to give to someone who has completed a residency in PM&R and have several working experience as a PM&R physician and has a green card? Does any of the panelists today has an answer to that? So, unfortunately, it seems like most of our panelists right now, are not in this situation when they were applying. But, I believe that Leila, our first speaker, has spoke pretty extendedly on this question. And if you have further questions regarding applying as a board certified PM&R doctors in your home country, please reach out to her for further inquiries on that question.
Yes, sorry, I cannot turn on my video because I'm walking right now. But yeah, please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. I think I put my email address in the chat in the very top, I think. So please feel free to reach out. Thank you.
Thank you, Leila, for updating on your answers to that question. Okay, the second question that I'm reading right now is, do you have any suggestions on when to start sending letters of interest and the amount that we should send out?
I probably can share some about this question. I actually have that in my slides, but due to time limitation, I cannot talk about that. So what I did is I track their time frame of last year of each program and estimate when probably is the day of their interview sent out. And I will probably write the letter of interest at least 1 week or 2 weeks before that date to make sure they've already screened most of American applicants and have the time and understanding of their pool how their applicants look like and have the time to review international medical graduates package. That's my philosophy. And some of my friends, they send out the letter of interest at the very beginning after submitted the ERAS, and most of them get a very general reply. It's like just a copy paste because all the committee, they were busy like trying to have a plan how to review the application for this year. They really cannot offer you any answer. And I think 1 or 2 weeks before the estimated interview offering day would be a good idea. And I got a lot of customized reply at the moment.
Thank you, Norman, for the reply. Does any of the other panelists want to add on this question?
So yeah, that was great. What Norman said is really helpful. And what I did, so I mentioned that I was reaching out to programs for observership opportunities. So I had like a base communication with them, and those who replied back to me, like most of them were, "Hi, thank you for reaching out. We do not have any position right now." But then for letter of interest, I would reply back to our email chain. So they kind of knew me, and they knew me that I'm interested in the program, and I was looking for observership like a year, out of the deadline or the match season. So, and I got responses better. So, but for those who have not replied to your observership email, maybe it would not be good to reply to that email because they haven't replied back. So you can send another email, more personalized, but it helped me. Like I got more answers.
Thank you, Layla.
Yeah, something to add. I totally agree with Layla. Something I forgot. For those programs I have connection with or rotated there or know people there, I send out letter of interest immediately after my submission. Especially when I also signal them, I will tell the connection that I signal you guys and you already know me well, and please tell the people who have the power that I'm really interested. Sorry, I forgot that. I totally echo with Layla.
Okay, thank you so much, Layla and Norman, for your amazing answers. Due to time constraint, we will only entertain one more question. And the question that I'm reading right now is, do you have any advice on picking prelim and transitional programs to apply to?
So I think I got many prelim and translational. I got like 8 prelims through translational year program. Like what I've said, I do not have the internal medicine rotation. I don't have letter from them. I think the key key factor in my application is first, have people in the internal medicine program advocate for you. They are usually my senior residents in internal medicine. Second is use your geographic preference wisely, because most IM program that are open to international, they are New York City program. There's a reason, because they don't treat their resident well, probably. That's why they are offering position to international, but they're still good, and many of them offer H-1B visa if it really needs the H-1B. And there is not ton of them. I think if you use the Residency Explorer to filter many programs that does not have a lot of IMG, you will have your answer which program to go to.
Yeah, just to add to what Norman said, I had like 6 prelim internal medicine and 2 prelim surgery interviews. I only applied to like 10 prelim surgery programs, and I looked at programs that took IMGs and they had strong training. That was my only criteria, and it helped to apply to programs that took graduates from the medical school that I went to, because they were accustomed taking graduates from those schools, and they seem to be more comfortable with that. They brought it up in the interviews as well. So that seemed to be helpful. I didn't get any transitional, I only applied to 20 programs, but I didn't get any transitional interviews. So yeah, the interviews, it's just an internship, so it's not as strict as if you're applying for a categorical. I didn't have any internal medicine letters, so they knew I was going into PM&R, so the discussion at the interview was more based around that.
Thank you so much, Isa. Does any of the other panelists have something to share regarding this question? Okay, thank you so much for the session. Before our closing remarks, I just want to make sure if any of the panelists had any comments or any conclusions to share before we close our webinar today. Okay, seems done. So
wait a second. Sorry, to be like repetitive, mention something. Yeah, I just want to say, as one of the committee member, thank you everybody for coming, especially those panelists. You use your free time and join our discussion and help build the community, which was not existing for previous IMG PM&R applicants. So I think it's really a milestone that we are building something for future applicants, and we wish in the future our match rate will be higher, and we won't be one of the most underrepresented like specialty have the least IMG like percentage across all the specialty. I think that will improve in the future, and I sincerely hope everybody's effort, including today's Emily, SJ, Paul, everybody, we put in this panel and in our future event will help you guys and make things much smoother. Get you guys like a much better experience when trying to get into US residency. And I don't know about Emily, do you have any plan to share any group chat? But in the future, our committee, the IMG committee under Pathway of PM&R, we will definitely create a group chat that we will have everybody inside of the group. We will have today's panelists. I will invite many senior IMG residents into that group. And hopefully in the future, we can have something like a personal statement or CV workshop or even mentorship program that can help you guys in many steps along the way, getting into residency. And hopefully when going to this PM&R conferences, you will find us education session you can go. You will find a social event you can be part of it. You will find everything that you feel comfortable as a IMG in PM&R, and that's our hope. So thank you everybody for joining today, and thank you for the panelists, thank you for the coordinators, our committee member. That's something I want to share, and I can see the bright future of our IMG in the PM&R field.
Thank you, Norman, for your closing remarks. So thank you all so much for joining us today. We truly appreciate the time and energy you've dedicated and being a part of this exciting and also informative session. A big thank you to our panelists for sharing their incredible experiences and insights about PM&R. We hope that you are leaving today feeling inspired and also equipped with valuable knowledge to pursue your career in PM&R. Before we wrap up, I'd also like to kindly remind everyone to scan the QR code on your screen to fill out the post-webinar survey. Also, don't forget to follow Pathways on social media to stay connected with us and also be part of our growing community of IMGs and PM&R. We're excited to continue supporting and empowering you in your journey. We look forward to seeing you at future webinars and events, and have a wonderful day ahead wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for today. And this is the end for our webinar.